Grenada's leader not giving up on his country's adopting the CCJ as its final court of appeal. That's our top story in Caribbean Newsline for Monday, March 26th. From the CMC News Center in Bridgetown, I'm Nicole Best. Good evening. Grenada's Prime Minister Dr. Keith Mitchell is calling for a reopening of dialogue on the Caribbean Court of Justice, the CCJ. He made the call during his speech at the swearing-in ceremony of his new cabinet on Sunday, and it came less than 2 years after the electorate voted to reject a referendum to change the country's constitution, which contained a clause that Grenada replaced the London-based Privy Council with the Trinidad-based CCJ as its final court of appeal. In the 2016 referendum, 12,434 Grenadians voted against moving to the CCJ, as opposed to 9,492 in favor. Mitchell told the gathering at Sunday's swearing-in that the dialogue on acceding to the CCJ relates to its independence and to national identity.
Is that this land of the Federation of T.A. Marichaud, and this land that gave birth to revolutionaries as Julien Fadon and Henry Christophe, the land that gave birth to the leaders who were fathers of Grenada's independence and the defenders of this place in the world, as Eric Gary and Morris Bishop, respectively. The land that must and shall do better, that we have done on those issues. Today, I make a call again for the reopening very soon of a dialogue on the CCJ and the development of a united front going forward. For this issue shall not divide us and should not divide us along lines of party or class.
And Prime Minister Mitchell named a 14-member cabinet on Sunday. During the swearing-in ceremony, he reiterated an earlier pledge to broaden the social compact implemented during the last term. His new national party, the NNP, won all 15 seats at stake in the March 13th general election. It was the third time the party had done so since 1999. Mitchell told hundreds gathered at the National Stadium on the outskirts of the capital that his party would not embrace the winner-takes-all philosophy of the past.
I repeat what I said at my swearing in a few days ago, that while my party, the NNP party, have won all the seats, this winner shall not take all. And so, we have already signaled our intention to broaden the social compact that we successfully implemented during the last term. We shall give new meaning to it in this coming era of inclusion, extending membership and embracing youth participation. Once again, I invite every Grenadian to be part of this dialogue, and every organization to seek representation at the table, including the National Democratic Congress. That is if they wish. We can't force anyone.
Meanwhile, in Antigua and Barbuda, 17 senators have taken the oath of office, and for the first time in the Twin Island nation, more than half of them are women. They are 9 to be exact. Alicia Williams Grant was unanimously elected to serve a second term as Senate President, while Osbert Frederick was elected Vice President. Conspicuously absent from the list of senators was Harold Lovell, the political leader of the United Progressive Party, who for a second time failed in his bid to return to the lower house. He led the opposition in the Senate during the last administration. Lovell is replaced by Richard Lewis, a party branch chairman turned candidate for St. John's Rural West. The Senate President congratulated the senators on their appointment.
Antigua is looking forward to great things from all of us. We're in a position to use a platform that many don't get the opportunity to use. Many might not even understand it, but we expect that we will all use it wisely, profoundly, to impact transformative change in this country. Again, I say congratulations to all.
Staying in Antigua and Barbuda, Prime Minister Gaston Brown says he's committed to changing the Land Act that prohibits Antiguans from buying property on the sister isle Barbuda. Speaking to the media late last week after being sworn in as Prime Minister for a second consecutive term, Brown was candid about the relationship between the islands. He said the time has come for Barbudans to take responsibility for their economic growth and development.
The time has come for us to do some realignment and to bring Barbuda into the 21st century. And I'll say this without any fear of any reprisal from the Barbudan people. Even this carve-out that we have within the Barbuda Land Act, in which only Barbudans can buy land in Barbuda, that is unconstitutional. And I'm of the view that it ought to change. There should be one land act in this unitary state. And I'm going to give a commitment today, but at some point we'll go to Parliament, we'll change it and align it properly. We did it because we're trying to endear ourselves to them. We've gone the extra mile, but the reality is Barbuda cannot continue to be a welfare state. Barbudans must now start to work and take responsibility for their own development.
Brown, whose rule in Antigua and Barbuda Labour Party lost the Barbuda seat in last week's general elections, admitted that his party was playing to the electorate with the hope that his representative on the island would have won. But he said losing the seat is a blessing in disguise, as it gives the government the opportunity to deal with the issues concerning Barbuda in an objective way.
I want to make it abundantly clear that we'll do nothing to discriminate against Barbudans. We're still committed to the empowerment of Barbuda and Barbudans. We will treat them as our co-equals, but this muddle-cuddling has come to an end.
And as Barbadians wait to hear when they will vote in elections that are constitutionally due by June, a visiting university professor has suggested that whichever party wins will have to face the island's fiscal problems head-on. But Professor Andrew Rose, the Central Bank of Barbados' 5th Distinguished Visiting Fellow, says the new administration will also have to juggle that with dealing with some other global developments.
I think the three most important issues are probably in the Eurozone, because whatever is happening in Italy may have dire implications for the world as a whole. Brexit is certainly a big issue for Barbados, because you get a disproportionate number of your tourists from the United Kingdom, and rising interest rates and protectionism in the United States. So those would be the three things, if I had to name just three, that I would keep an eye on. And as a Bajan, I would want to make sure that the capital controls that are in place currently in Barbados come off slowly in a prudential, reasonable way, and that the regulators and the supervisors keep their eyes on the financial strength of the economy. Now, Barbados has other problems. It has some serious fiscal problems. Those aren't going to be solved by the current government. There's going to be an election soon. It'll be the first thing that the next government deals with. But I would keep my eye on Italy, Brexit, and the United States.
Professor Rose was speaking ahead of his presentation on looking forward how Caribbean nations can respond to global developments at the 5th Caribbean Economic Forum on Tuesday, and that will be carried live on Carib Vision at 8:30. The Inter-American Development Bank says countries in Latin America and the Caribbean require an ambitious growth agenda that focuses on overcoming large gaps in investment and productivity. A report released on the final day of the IDB Annual Board of Governors meeting noted that while the global economy faces potential risks from higher interest rates and a correction to global assets prices, the region's overall outlook is positive, with a 1.9% growth rate expected this year. But it noted that this is well below the growth rate expected for the world of 3.9%, and Latin America and the Caribbean will continue to lag unless substantial policy changes are enacted on the economic front. The report, entitled A Mandate to Grow, notes that past drivers of growth such as positive demographic trends, increasing commodity prices and available fiscal stimulus spaces are either reversed or restricted. The St. Lucia Fire Service is investigating the cause of a fire on Sunday night that destroyed the Folk Research Center, the FRC, that houses the most extensive collection of the island's cultural artifacts and history. The blaze destroyed the building housing the FRC that was established in 1973 as a repository for cultural heritage and for researching, studying, recording and promulgating St. Lucia's rich heritage. It housed an extensive library of publications, audiovisual recordings and photographs, and is the major study center for work carried out into St. Lucia's folk culture by nationals and visiting researchers and students. The fire service said when they arrived on the scene, the building was already engulfed in flames, and despite the best efforts of fire officers from Castries and Grosile, nothing was saved. Coming up in Caribbean Newsline, Eastern Caribbean countries urged to repeal buggery laws. That story and more after the break. Do stay with us.
How can Caribbean nations respond to global economic trends? It is the subject of our Caribbean Economic Forum with Central Bank of Barbados Distinguished Fellow Dr. Andrew K. Rose, B.T. Rocco Professor of Economic Analysis and Policy of the Haas School of Business, University of California, Berkeley. Join us on March 27th at 8:30 p.m. at the Courtney Blackman Grand Salle, or follow this important event on television, radio, and online. Let's talk about terms of trade, capital flows, exchange rate pressures, protectionism, and more in this 5th edition of the Caribbean Economic Forum. For more information, visit www.centralbank.org.bb.
Follow your heart to the 22nd Annual St. Kitts Music Festival from June 27 to July 1st, 2018. Featuring Kester Band, SIZZLA KALONJI, Small Axe Band, Nyla Blackman, and Betty Wack. Also, Patti LaBelle, Dijon, New Vibes International, Rhythm of the Beat, and Wayne Wonder. Vibes, August ALSINA, Aishona, BYRON, MESSIA, Dasha, CHAKA, DEMUS, and PLIERS, and Miss Lauren Hill. Save the date and book now for the 22nd Annual St. Kitts Music Festival, an experience like no other.
Countries in the Eastern Caribbean are being urged by Human Rights Watch to repeal colonial buggery laws. The organization says the laws have broad latitude, are vaguely worded, and serve to legitimize discrimination and hostility towards lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender people in the sub-region. According to Human Rights Watch, the laws give social and legal sanction for discrimination, violence, stigma and prejudice against LGBT individuals by singling out those groups in a discriminatory manner. It therefore urged Eastern Caribbean countries to repeal all laws that criminalize consensual activity among same-sex couples, pass laws defining rape in gender-neutral ways, and conduct awareness-raising campaigns for the LGBT community. Haiti's President Jovenel Moïse has led the country in expressing condolences to the families of those reported missing and presumed dead after a boat carrying 17 people sank in the Canal de la Torte of the northern coast of Haiti over the weekend. Moïse says a search is underway to find the bodies of the victims and the survivors of the tragedy. The incident occurred last Saturday evening in the waters between the Turtle Island and the coast of Haiti. According to media reports, at least 12 people, including a Roman Catholic priest assigned to the Sacred Heart Parish on Turtle Island, are missing and feared dead. The 8th World Water Forum ended in Brazil over the weekend with a commitment from participants to look at wastewater as a valuable resource. And as we hear in this report from Nazima Ragobir of the international group talked about how wastewater can save the water industry.
Wastewater may hold the answers to diminishing water resources. It is slowly earning its place at the discussion table. Christopher Corbin, Program Manager for Pollution and Communications with the UN Environment Program, described wastewater as a resource.
This has often been considered the poor cousin of water. It's very much out of sight, out of mind, and yet still we have so many opportunities to consider the reuse of wastewater and the use of wastewater as a resource.
Wastewater is available. Significant amounts of it is already entering the environment untreated, says Corbin.
The figures suggest as high as 75 or 80%. This is significant because this wastewater can actually be used to provide, one, if treated properly, potable water for irrigation. It can be used to provide nutrients and therefore saving us on the cost of fertilizer, and it could also be used as a source of energy.
The region is already pressed to find tangible financial resources for the maintenance and development of water resources and infrastructure. Corbin, who is attending the 8th World Water Forum in Brasilia, plugs the need for an integrated approach for water that will include the use of wastewater.
We look at water separately from wastewater, and even within the water sector we talk about water for agriculture, water for tourism, water for domestic use. We now have to go to the donors with more integrated programs to recognize that in fact wastewater reuse can offset some of the investments we need to make in the water sector.
As the 8th World Water Forum wrapped in Brasilia on Friday, the region, through the Caribbean Water and Wastewater Association, explored opportunities to improve and garner support for its strategic plan of action for water in the region. The plan will be presented later this year at the 27th CWWA Annual Conference in Jamaica. Reporting from Brasilia for CMC, Nazima Ragobir.
And ahead in Newsline Sport, West Indies miss out on the ICC World Cup Qualifiers Trophy. Stay with us. Sport is next.
Follow your heart to the 22nd Annual St. Kitts Music Festival from June 27 to July 1st, 2018. Featuring Kestuban, SIZZLA KALONJI, Small Axe Band, Nyla Blackman, and Betty Wack. Also, Patti LaBelle, Dijon, New Vibes International, Rhythm of the Beat, and Wayne Wonder. VYBES, August ALSINA, Aishona, BYRON, MESSIA, CHAKA, DEMUS, and PLIERS, and Miss Lauren Hill. Save the date and book now for the 22nd Annual St. Kitts Music Festival, an experience like no other.
We are here at Quaker Steak and Lube. It's our 14th annual NASCAR season wrap-up party. My God, it just seems like days ago our season kicked off. Martin Truex Jr. has been the story of NASCAR this year.
We have to work harder because it'll be harder next year for sure. The cars will change. The other manufacturers, Ford and Chevy, are certainly going to be better than they were this year. I think they'll work harder over the winter, but we're going to work harder too, and we're expecting that. So
Everyone talks about North Korea, of course, as this police state dictatorship, and that's why it's our enemy, right? And South Korea is our ally because it shares our Western values of democracy and freedom. Do you agree with that?
Until, the late 1980s, South Korea was a pretty dark dictatorship too. And, we supported, the United States supported a succession of police states.
West Indies failed in their bid to put the finishing touches on an otherwise successful ICC World Cup qualifiers campaign as nemesis Afghanistan trounced them by 7 wickets on Sunday to lift the trophy. Opting to bat first, the Caribbean side was coasting at 73-42 in the 18th over before slumping to lose their last 8 wickets for 131 runs. All-rounder Rothman Powell top scored with 44 and left-handed Shimron Hetmeyer chipped in with 38 while Evan Lewis got 27 and Ashley Nurse struck an unbeaten 26 toward the end. 16-year-old off-spinner Mujib-ur-Rahman was again brilliant with the new ball taking 4 for 43 while Seema Gulbadin Naib picked up 2 for 28.
That's an easy push. That'll be a hard one. No, it's not. Ground covered. Catch taken.
That's 4 as well. Oh, wow. That's out of nowhere. Now he's gone.
Gone all the way. And West Indies cricketers, and he's gone.
Oh, that's a good lead. Didn't pick it. Was that missing leg stump? No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. It's wicket number 4. In the air for a very long time, but in the gap. Was looking for 3, there's an opportunity, and I think he's gone. That's a massive, massive mix-up.
This might well be another. No, it's not. It's gone a long way.
Oh, up they go, up they go. They've found the edge. That's 6. There's the length. There's the wicket. Really good shot. Excellent. Did go for it. Big appeal and give it.
Got him. Well, once again, Mujib, unplayable. Man of the match in the Super 6 phase against the West Indies.
Yes, man of the match Mohammad Shahzad then took the game from the Windies with a typically aggressive 84 off 93 balls. And that's as Afghanistan in their reply dominated the early stages of the innings to put the results beyond doubt.
Easy pickings. Well timed and holding the pose.
That'll go as well. All the way for 6. Wicket number 1. That's a good shot. That's a really good shot.
.50 for Shahzad, 12th ODI 50 in addition to 400s, and he's such a talisman.
4 more.
Catch it! Gone! He's got him!
.50 for Ramat Shah. He is 11th in one-day internationals.
Gone.
That sounded good. That sounded very good. Goes again. Goes big again. Another chapter in the history of Afghanistan's cricket is written here at the Harare Sports Club in Zimbabwe.
West Indies women ended their tour of New Zealand on Sunday in the same way they began, with another defeat and a comprehensive series loss. Centre in the Caribbean side looked in good shape when captain Stephanie Taylor smashed 42 and teenager Hayley Matthews 40 in an exciting opening stand of 60 off 44 deliveries. Deandra Dottin got her first significant score of the series with 33, but off-spinner Lai Kasparek 2 for 19 and speedster Leah Tahuhu's 2 for 27 clawed things back for the White Ferns to limit Windies women to 139 for 5 off their 20 overs. Wicketkeeper Katie Martin then extended her excellent form with an unbeaten 54, while Amy Satterthwaite weighed in with 43 as New Zealand stormed to their target in the 17th over. The series was a wretched one for the Windies, who suffered a whitewash in the 3-match one-day series before losing the T20 series, with the 4th match in New Plymouth abandoned without a ball bowled due to rain. Switching sports, Trinidad and Tobago's senior women's football team ended their recent World Cup warm-up match against Panama with a draw. It followed their 2-1 loss to the same team in an earlier encounter. TV6's Terence Clark took in the action at the Mami Ramjan Stadium in South Trinidad and filed this report.
The TNT women started positively against Panama, creating a number of scoring chances but were unable to make one of those early chances count. But Panama settled and should have registered a goal on this attack as both teams went to the break goalless. The hosts would crash one off the crossbar at the start of the second and finally got the breakthrough after that. Patrice Superville was on spot to slot home under the advancing keeper. The visitors sounded a warning soon after, but keeper Tanisha Palmer was alert to the challenge. TNT have failed to hold on to leads in the recent past, and that would continue again. However, it took a cracker of a finish from Yomira Pinzon. TNT forced to settle for a 1-1 draw in their second encounter against Panama.
And that's the sport. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Again, the major developments of this day. Grenada's Prime Minister Dr. Keith Mitchell wants more discussion on his country adopting the Caribbean Court of Justice as its final court. And in sport, West Indies fail in their bid to put the finishing touches on an otherwise successful ICC World Cup qualifiers campaign, losing the trophy to Afghanistan. That's Caribbean News Live. For news and sport around the clock, log on to KanaNews.com. We'll be back here again tomorrow. But from all of us at CMC News, thank you for watching and do have yourselves a good night.